Okay, if you're a developer who's been building with AI, you know this feeling. You've spent weeks, maybe months, creating this absolutely brilliant AI agent. It works perfectly on your laptop, but then you hit a wall. A massive wall that traps so many amazing projects in what AWS has a painfully accurate name for.
Right? So on your local machine, everything is just humming along. Your agent, maybe you built it with a cool framework like Crew AI or LangGraph, is doing exactly what you designed it to do. It's smart, it's fast, and you're thinking, this is it. This is the future. Your proof of concept is a total home run. But then, the big question hits.
How do you actually get this thing out into the real world? I mean, how do you take this amazing prototype and turn it into a real production-ready app that can handle thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of users, and do it securely? Suddenly you're thinking about scalability, session management, all this complex infrastructure, and that's exactly where projects grind to a halt. Yeah, that's what AWS themselves call this place, proof of concept purgatory. It is the perfect name for it. It's that awful, frustrating gap between a demo that works and a product that scales. Developers get stuck doing what AWS calls undifferentiated heavy lifting, basically building plumbing instead of focusing on making their agent even smarter. Well, to pull developers out of this exact purgatory, Amazon has rolled out a brand new suite of services called AWS AgentCore. The whole idea here is to be the bridge that gets you from that local machine to a global enterprise-scale deployment.
So let's look at the official line here from Amazon. A couple of things really jump out. First, it's not just about deploying, it's about doing it securely and at scale. Those are the key words. And second, and this is huge, it's about using any framework and any model. That kind of flexibility is a massive deal.
And you gotta understand, AgentCore isn't just one single thing. It's much more like a toolkit, a set of modular services you can pick and choose from. You've got components for the runtime, for memory, identity, and even some really cool pre-built tools like a secure code interpreter in a browser. You can use them all, or you can just grab the one piece you need. So what does all this power really mean for developers in the trenches? Well, when you start putting these tools together, they add up to some really serious, game-changing advantages for anyone trying to get an AI agent into production.
For developers, the wins are just crystal clear. First, you're not locked into anything. Use whatever framework you love, whatever model you need. Bedrock, OpenAI, Anthropic, you name it. The whole thing is serverless, so it just scales up and down on its own. It's got enterprise-grade security baked in, but honestly, the biggest thing is just speed. You get to skip all that boring back-end work and get your product to users way, way faster.
And look, this isn't just theory. Big companies are already on board. The banking giant Ito Unibanco, they're using it to create super personalized customer experiences. Epsilon is using it to crush their marketing content creation. And Box is using it to scale up their AI features while keeping everything secure and compliant. I mean, those are some heavy hitters. But, as we all know, with any powerful new tool, there's always a catch.
You know the saying, right? With great power comes great responsibility. And in the world of cloud security, new powerful tools almost always bring new and sometimes very subtle risks. It didn't take long after AgentCore's launch for security researchers at Sunrise Security to find a pretty significant potential flaw.
And here it is, the smoking gun, straight from their analysis. They found that the new code interpreter tool can be used by regular people, not just your AI agent. And here's the kicker. When a person calls it, their code runs with the permissions of the interpreter's role, not their own. Now, if you're in security, you know that is the textbook definition of a privilege escalation vulnerability.
Let's just walk through how this works, because it's kind of scary. Imagine you have a user with very basic low-level permissions. They can't really do much, but they can call this AgentCore code interpreter. Now, let's say an admin set up that interpreter with a really powerful role, one that can access, say, every single file in your company's S3 buckets. Well, suddenly, that low-level user can run code that has all of those godlike permissions. Not good. And this just shows you how dangerous that mismatch is. The caller might only have read-only access, just enough to look at things, but by using the interpreter, they can suddenly get the keys to the kingdom, full access to modify your most critical resources. You've got a low-trust user basically borrowing the credentials of a high-trust service role. That's a massive security gap just waiting to be exploited. And the problems don't really stop there. This whole thing creates a brand new way for permissions to be abused. These tools don't work with standard resource policies, which is how you'd normally lock this stuff down. And to make it even worse, these risky actions aren't even logged in CloudTrail by default. You have to pay extra to even see them happening. The best way to fix it right now involves using these big, clunky policies that can be like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. So where does that leave us? On the one hand, we have this amazing toolkit that solves a huge, real-world problem for AI developers. But on the other, it seems to come with this pretty serious built-in security risk. And that brings us to the core takeaway here. It's all a balancing act, isn't it? The pro is massive. AgentCore can save you months and get you out of that proof-of-concept purgatory. The con? A simple misconfiguration could blow a giant hole in your security. It's super flexible, which is great, but that flexibility means it's also highly complex to set up correctly. You have to be the one to manually test everything and lock it all down.
So here's the bottom line. AgentCore is an incredible accelerator. It really is. But it is not a magic wand. It's a professional-grade toolset, and it demands a professional level of expertise. All of its immense power requires an equal, if not greater, amount of diligence and care from the security and dev teams who are putting it in place.
And you know, this whole situation really makes you step back and think about a much bigger question, one that goes way beyond just this one AWS service. As we keep building more powerful, more autonomous AI agents, where do we draw that line? The line between empowering them to do incredible things and controlling them to make sure they do those things safely. It's a question we are all going to be wrestling with for a very long time. Thanks for watching.